Good morning, ladies. Welcome. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Lindsay. I'm so excited to see all of your faces. Okay. If you haven't met me yet, my name is Hannah. I'm one of the support coaches here with Alive and Free, and I'm just going to be hanging out in the chat with you today. And if this is one of your first times on a call, how it works, you'll throw in the chat that you'd like coaching or that you have a question, and we'll go in order of how that shows up on our side. We do ask if you've been coached in the past 3 days for you not to submit a question, just so other ladies have some space to get coaching and for you to really reflect on what you received. But yeah, this is the communication and codependency call with Courtney. And so I'll go ahead and pass it off to her.
Thank you. I was laughing. Hi, ladies. I'm Courtney. If I haven't met you, I laugh every time because I'm so codependent. That's why they gave me this call. It's hilarious. I laugh every time. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So Jenny's like, hey, why don't you lead that? I'm like, great. I can lead. That's how I lead, from experience. Anyway. Sorry, I will get distracted. They're working on my yard today, but I will try my best. But hi, ladies. Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. Oh man, it gets so ingrained in there that it's like, oh, I'm codependent again. Whoops, slipped. Anyway, I love seeing your faces. If you're in a place you can turn your camera on, I would love to see more of you. If not, that's okay too. But yes, you're welcome to the table. Let's see. I'll start off praying. I would love to invite us into prayer. And then we'll get started from there. Okay. Thank you, Jesus, for this time. Holy Spirit, we just invite you into every room, every area of the world that we cover, that we are not separated by distance and space between us, but that we're also not separated from you, whether we feel like it or not, that you are so close to us, that you are literally binding our body together, that there's nowhere we can go to be away from you. We just pray over this space. We pray over the freedom that you want to bring each lady. We just partner with that you care about our hearts more than anything else, more than any performance, more than anything that we're doing, more than anything that we put our hands to, more than any behavior that we may think is gross, that we as humans have labeled gross, disgusting, bad, that you are after our hearts and you always have been. So we just posture our hearts to receive from you, Lord. I pray that each lady, that you can reveal lies that she's partnered with, belief systems and where they were rooted. I pray that you encounter her in exactly what she needs. Pray that this can be a sweet moment of your presence and time together. In Jesus' name, amen. Cool. All right, let me check the chat. Okay, Hannah, did you send me the first lady?
Karina is up first.
Cool. Can you hear me if I sit back? I mean, I'm pretty loud. Okay, cool. Karina, you are up first.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
That's good. So, since this call is about codependency, I've been noticing some things come up this past weekend, actually this entire past week. So I'm the maid of honor for my best friend, and the bridal shower was yesterday. And just a lot of things have been coming up with my friendship with her, but it has nothing to do with her. And I know it's all, my belief systems and the way I've been functioning in relationships has been coming up. And that kind of looks like doing so much for her and not feeling like I'm doing enough, or when people are helping out, I feel like that's it. It's like saying something about me that I'm not doing enough and people have to step in to help out. So that was with the bridal shower. And then there's other things too with this is so ugly to admit, but I've been noticing, because she's been spending more time with other friends, and I've been a little busy with school and work and just helping her plan things for the wedding. And I just get jealous. Like I wish I could spend, and I had more time to spend with her. So yeah, like I guess I'm trying not to judge myself, because I know in the past, in my last serious relationship, it was just not healthy. I was insecure and jealous all the time, and so was he with me. So it was that kind of relationship. And yeah, I don't know if this is like a reoccurring thing in my friendship now, but it's such an ugly feeling to feel jealous towards her spending time with friends. It sucks. But obviously I don't act upon it. I just notice it, and I'm like, what do I do with this? Why? Yeah, I'm kind of there. Like, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Do you feel like it's just heightened because of the wedding, or is this a dynamic that's been like throughout a lot of your relationships?
I think because just from the beginning, yeah, it's probably because it's been heightened. Yeah, because our friendship was not like that. I mean, before, she'd tell me about her friends and we'd hang out together, and I had the time to hang out with them, and it was just I didn't have this coming up. So it's kind of reminding me of how it was with my ex-boyfriend too. So
Okay.
yeah.
Let me ask you just a few more questions so we can get kind of the right angle. Does it feel like more, so you talked a little bit about like kind of this dynamic of like doing all these things and it not being enough. I'm wondering if that's what's at play here, and that energy from you, like I'm not doing enough, or if it's a different, does it feel like rejection or abandonment, or like a comparison thing over the friends, or does it feel more of like I'm not doing enough,
It
I don't
feels
have
like
enough time? Yeah.
more like rejection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was reading, what's that book? Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. And I think I've learned a lot from that, and how I would mesh myself into someone else's identity. And it just, it made me understand and feel validated with my experience in relationships and why I functioned the way I did before. Because I do think I've grown from that a lot, but I do have this. The thing is, I didn't know I grew from it, or I thought I grew from it, but it's because I distanced myself in relationships. So I kept people at arm's length. So I never really knew how I function in relationships for a long time. Mostly because I'm scared of myself, because I know I have that ugly side of me where I can be jealous, or feel rejected all the time, or like too sensitive. So yeah, finally allowing people in, and those things are coming up.
Yeah. Let's stay with some of those, because it makes so much sense. And even in like your wording, I can kind of hear like the hate and disgust a little bit. So let's like kind of take those out for a moment, even if they come back later. But because it makes sense to me, I'm just gonna write down some jealousy, rejection. I forget the third thing that you said. What did you say? Jealousy, rejection. I had it in my brain, but I lost it.
Being too much.
Being too much. Thank you. Okay. Because those sound like versions of yourself that you've judged, right? And hated. In order to not be them anymore. But if we can remove the judgment and the hatred from those things and just like kind of crack it open with just like a gentleness and a curiosity, then we can really figure out like the root behind it of like why. Like why does jealousy come up? Because they're really valid reasons why, right? There's a place in your heart that either experienced pain and rejection. Like there's really a tender space there. And if we can get love to that space, then these things that we don't necessarily like, they will diminish. But if we stay in that cycle of like, oh, I hate those things about myself, that it will perpetuate the cycle really. Because like even what you're seeing is like, okay, I hate that part of me. So the result is you don't get as close in relationship because that's when those things come out for you. But really what you're sacrificing is closeness in relationship in order to not have those things. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's what I had heard.
And the thing is, I do ask why, but maybe I'm doing it from a place of trying to fix myself or trying to figure it out. And because I do ask myself why, and I do get curious, and then I come up with all these reasons. Like my dad was like that with my mom. My parents, it's because of the relationship. Or I think, my relationship with my brother, like it can be so many things and it gets overwhelming to think about. So
yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Are you in a space that we can walk through something?
Yeah.
Okay. Wasn't sure. Cool. Let's go ahead and close your eyes and put your hand on your heart. And we'll get connected in this space. And if you're new to the call, anyone on the call, you can walk through this with us. You can be an active participant in this. If you're new to the call, I'm just going to walk her through getting connected to her heart, getting connected to that place behind like the feelings of jealousy. Where is that coming from? My opinion is it usually comes from pain or a need. And pain can be healed and needs can be met. And that's like the simplest way I can explain it. At least that's what it's like in my head, that there's either a need there or there's pain there. And I know how to meet both of those. So you're welcome to join us. Just go ahead and close your eyes. Put your hand on your heart. And Karina will just get connected to an experience or an emotion or a place that you remember jealousy coming up for you, where you felt rejected in relationship. And let me know what comes up for you.
First thing that came to mind was my mom.
Okay.
My relationship with her.
Yeah.
It was almost like anything I did, it just
was never, or it was shut down all the time. Yeah, anything I did, she'd just bring it down or like point out the bad, and
Okay.
there was no winning in that relationship.
Yeah. If you can think of a moment with her, if we get connected to one experience, how old would you be?
I'd say 5.
Okay. And what's happening?
I kind of just see myself with a really sad face and sad droopy eyes. Yeah, I am like holding a baby toy, and I don't know if this is a real memory, but this is what I'm seeing. Just like my mom not really like telling me that I'm not doing it right, and I'm just trying to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see 5-year-old Karina?
Yeah.
Okay. Would it be okay if you brought in someone to this memory?
Yeah.
We can bring in whoever feels the most fun or the most safe. You can bring in Jesus. You can bring in yourself now as an adult. You can bring in someone who played with you and you always felt comfortable that you were doing it right, that you didn't have to perform for. Does anyone come to mind when you think of that?
I think of my adult self and Jesus too.
Okay. Let's go ahead and invite them in. And let me know when you can connect with that.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. But I'm seeing Jesus put this baby upside down on the stroller, and just like it's saying it's fine. And we're just laughing. Yeah.
I love that.
This makes so much sense. Because growing up, I've taken life way too serious. And I thought every decision and everything I do was just, I don't know, I had a lot of responsibility and consequences tied to it, even when it was something that was not that serious or,
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to discern between something that is worth taking serious and playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes so much sense. How does Karina want to play with her baby? What does she want to do?
I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like scared to initiate.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What is she afraid of the most?
Getting yelled at.
Yeah.
It's like I can see Jesus putting the baby upside down on the stroller and it not being the right way. But me as a little girl, like I can't do that. I can just see someone else doing it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear there. Yeah.
That's okay. It's up to you. We can explore that a little bit more. You can always come back to it. I think that might be a good place for your little girl to learn that she has that freedom and safety, that she can do it wrong, that she can mess it up, and to have that experience of Jesus laughing, of God showing up and just thinking she's such a delight. So it's up to you. We can kind of keep going into this moment, or you can always revisit it later. What would you like to do?
I'd say just jump right in. Yeah. Can
Okay.
keep going.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. I'm just going to let her take the lead. You can just see her, whatever space you're in. She has her baby, and adult Karina is there. Jesus is there. Is your mom still in the room, or is she out now?
She's out.
Okay. Would it feel scary, or would it feel like healing is there if we invited your mom in?
I'd say scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. You can just keep it, you guys. Does she feel safe to play?
Yes.
Okay.
So I saw myself kind of drinking coffee with a fork.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm a little more engaged. Yeah. Yeah, I think I didn't have that safety to mess up and do things wrong. Yeah, so the more you mention safety, I feel like I started feeling a little safe to play the way I thought it'd be fun too.
Yeah. Does it feel like adult Karina can play with little Karina?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would that look like?
That'd look like me joining my little self and drinking coffee with a fork and just being engaged, regardless of how silly it is, just being engaged. Yeah. I think that's what I needed from my mom.
Makes sense. Whenever you're ready, you can come out of that moment.
Yeah.
You're always welcome to revisit it as much as she needs. I would go back to that place when rejection and jealousy come up, going back and reminding her that it's okay, that she's safe, that she can play, that she can be silly. It may be good for her. You can choose into this or choose not, but it may be good for her at some point for you to bring mom in and get what she needed from mom. And I know that's why I was asking your heart, like, does it feel scary to bring mom in? I know at least for me, it was really healing. I couldn't do it at first, but it was really healing in the moments I could bring my mom in. Even if I had to have like a level of safety, like myself and Jesus, or like Sammy, or like I had my army, and then I brought mom in, because what I really, really needed was from my mom. Right? That's what my little girl needed. And I did this a lot with like 16-year-old Courtney. She's the one that needed to have a voice with her mom, to share how much pain she was in, to kind of like let it all out. But in order to do that, I needed that team on my side. And once I could bring my mom in, it was really healing, because I could see my mom's face and I could invite her into that space of showing up how I needed her to. And ultimately, it got 16-year-old Courtney what she needed in those moments, was that gentle, nurturing mom that wasn't going to explode and judge her, right? All of those things. So that's just a suggestion. You can take it or leave it, but
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to see how that's tied to being jealous or in relationships now.
yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to go back into that and invite my mom in. I just feel like because she's not a safe person even now, I love my mom and I try my best to be patient with her till this day, but she doesn't have that safety with me even now as an adult. So that's why I said it wasn't safe.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And that's it. I don't have the safety built with my mom physically. We don't have that safety in our relationship, but I could invite in a version of her that didn't have her brokenness and pain, because that's why she's not safe, is because of her pain. And so in encounters, I would invite in the perfect version of her that was full of love, that could show up safe, And ultimately, and this was just between me and myself. So it had nothing to do really with her. It was just about me going on the journey of like, this is what I needed, and getting those things to that time I needed it reflected in my current way I showed up in relationship. Like, so I don't exactly know how those two things are tied for you, but I do know that if that little girl that was feeling like she had to do everything right and everything was high stakes and she couldn't mess it up and she was going to get yelled at and it was never enough, like all of those things are still at play in your life now, right? In some capacity, however that comes out. And getting her what she needed in those moments like shifted my current state, my current reality, because I could show up, because I didn't feel as rejected. I didn't feel as high stakes. Like does that make sense? All of those things were shifted for me so that it actually shifted my current reality and how I showed up in relationships, right? It shifted that stuff within me and that it shifted my external world. But yeah, I don't have that safety with my mom. She fit like right now in human form, she can't show up that way for me either.
Yeah, so I'm sure I'm not the only one that tries to wait till, our relationship with their parent or relationship with someone gets better before we have healing about it. Yeah. I've been approaching it in that way, at least my healing. Like I need to work on this relationship. And once it gets good enough, then I can probably heal from it then. But yeah, I guess you're right. Like I don't have to wait till the relationship is healthy enough for me to heal. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I feel for you. I have the same thing with my mom. I get it. Thanks for sharing that place with us though.
Yeah, thank you for your insight and for walking me through that encounter.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, is it Carly? Looks like you are next.
It's Charlie.
Charlie.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm okay. I just woke up this morning and I wasn't gonna say anything, and I was like, "Okay, heart. So what do you need today?" And she was like, "I need to be seen." So I came on.
Okay.
And I definitely didn't know it was about codependency. I haven't even like watched that video or anything. But I definitely know I'm codependent with my mother. And I think so I was codependent with my mom, and then once I got to college, I think I like transferred it to my best friend, and then when I came back here, I transferred it to my sister. And so like now, and now I feel okay. So a couple of weeks ago, I had after watching like the triggered video, had a fight with my sister about something very insignificant. Like we were arguing about like semantics. I was like, I said this. He's like, but we heard this, and like, yeah. So like in that moment, I figured out that I was feeling like I wasn't being heard. And from that, I like got really emotional because at first I thought we were good. And then the next weekend, I like had called her, didn't hear anything back, called her again, still didn't hear anything back. She had texted me and was like, hey, I just think we need some space. I'm still feeling a little something from this past weekend. And I was like, oh, you're not okay? Wait, what? And so then I like have this emotional thing where like I text our 2 other friends. There's like 4 of us in the group. And I was like, basically, like if me and my sister like had a falling out, which happened to another one of our friends, like I would feel like I would be the one that was like discarded. And so then I like, they ended up texting me back. I was like, no, like we're here for you. Like we understand, like you're not really a sharer and everything. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not. But I think from that, I've been feeling like I haven't been like really open with people. So like I want to be open with people, but I feel if I am open with them, then I'll start like, I don't want to say caring too much, but to the point of sacrificing my own stuff. Like there was a time in college when I was dating this guy that my best friend didn't like. And I, he like called me up. He was gonna like take me on like a surprise date to somewhere like really nice. And she was like, no, you should just stay here with me. Like, don't go. And so I ended up calling him and canceling. And then later found out like it was like to the aquarium and it seemed like really nice and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like oh. But yeah, so like sacrificing my own like happiness to like be there for others, or just like really feeling whatever they're feeling. And so now I feel like I've like distanced myself from them. Like I'll only like my sister, I stopped calling her. Like I'll just wait for her to contact me. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. In that situation, when you ended up not going on the date, what was the thing that you were afraid of in your friend's relationship if you left and you went on the date?
Making her feel bad, like not,
yeah,
making her sad, or no, making her mad at me.
okay. And if
So,
she's mad at you, what would happen?
she wouldn't like me anymore. We wouldn't be friends.
Okay. Yeah. That seems kind of high stakes. Yeah. Can you remember like a situation as a kid or a dynamic as a kid where it felt like that? Where
Yes.
it felt like, yeah, okay. Yeah, before I even get the question, you're like, yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, would it be okay to go there?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Why not? That's what we're doing.
So like I saw something pop up saying like abandonment fears, definitely abandonment fears. But so yeah, I have a lot of abandonment. I don't know if there's time to do all that. But my mom, so I can't remember how old I was, but basically the men in my life, my mom, the men in my life like left, and it was just me and my mom. So I felt like I had to like, I don't say like be like perfect and be okay, so that she didn't get mad and possibly me too, like all the men did. So that's where that came from.
I have that same one. Ooh.
Mhm.
Yep, that's what led to most of my codependency was men leaving, and then my mom was the only one there. So I like
Yep,
stuck
yep.
my claws in her, like, oh my God, you're literally my survival. And as a little girl, yeah, she was. So
Mhm.
it makes a lot of sense that we're like, please don't get mad and leave too. I'm
Yep.
like, even saying that, I'm like, oh, little girl. Yeah. That's a lot. That's scary. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So right now, I didn't actually realize like what high stake
Yeah.
situations was until like right now. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what that is.
Yeah. It's when the situation's little like that between like I'm going on this date or my friend wants me to stay and the situation itself is little, right? Like, hey, I'll see you later. I'm going on a date, right? But the high stakes of it are those fears and abandonment. Yeah, which is why I was asking. Okay. Let's see. What week are you on in this program?
I just watched the second, I think it was 6 of so I just finished the second encounters.
Okay, cool. Would it be okay to walk through an encounter here? Yeah?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, go ahead and close your eyes. Put your hand on your heart. And I'm sure there's lots and lots of moments, so we'll just go with whatever moment your heart wants to bring to you, whatever experience, whatever age. And just get connected to that fear and that place of if someone's mad at me, I'll be abandoned.
I feel like there's like 2. One, I'll go with I'm going first. Like being, I'm gonna say 5. I have no idea if it was really 5, but I'm just like my mom kind of like bent over crying, and I'm just kind of like patting her on the back. It's okay. And the other one, during the time of my life when I was drinking way too much because, trying to not feel pain, and like would get blackout drunk and wouldn't want to know what happened the night before because I would be afraid of what I did do, what I didn't do, and what other people would say, think, even though it already happened. I can't change what happened, but like just didn't want to know. Those are,
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's stay with one. Which experience or memory do you want to stay with?
I think the second one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and close your eyes again. Put your hand on your heart. And I hear your mind wanting to know the answers and wanting to remember. But we're going to stay in that heart space because our heart remembers the emotion, the pain, what it felt like, the things we've decided, right? Like I will keep everyone happy, so I'm never abandoned, right? That's the place where it comes from. How old are you during this time where you're drinking and not wanting to face the pain?
The junior year of college. No, sophomore year of college.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a main experience coming up for you? Or do you want to get connected with the pain that she's not
I think
feeling?
just the pain.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's really brave. If she stops and faces the pain, what's coming up for her?
Like slowly inching towards it. I don't want to actually do it.
Okay. Yeah. And we don't have to face it all in a moment, right? And we're here for you. Pain doesn't actually take us out. It feels really intense, but it doesn't take you out. It's okay, honey. You don't have to hold it back. You don't have to explain anything. You can just let it up. I think you've been carrying it for a long time. You're doing such a good job.
I'm a very logical person. So my brain's always like on.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was like, okay, I don't want to try to do like a specific time, because then I'll try to do the timeline in my head and try and figure out, okay, so when did all this happen? So figure out like, where is everything? What's the linear line of it all? So I'm trying to, just
Sense. I think that's another form of self-protection. The way our body protects ourselves from feeling the pain is like, oh, if I can figure out all the pieces, I can figure out exactly what I was feeling and what happened, and that seems safer, right? Than feeling into that pain that you've been carrying. How does it feel? First of all, I think that's so brave. I think it's so brave. I ran from my stuff. I was 34 before I finally turned around and faced it. Like, so, and I think it's so brave, that moment of choosing, because not a lot of people do, and it's scary. It's this big, for me, it was this like big unknown that I'm like, nope, I can feel it. It's there. I'm scared. I'm scared if I turn around and I open that door, like, I don't know what's coming out. I don't, so it's a really relevant fear. And I think all of us run or numb or some form of like, this is scary. Yeah, so I think it's really brave that you're like, nope, I'm gonna actually turn and look at this, because that's where healing begins and comes in. How did it feel though for you to let some of that emotion come up, let some of that pain come up?
It felt good. I feel like I was stopping myself from like thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I was trying to like make logical sense. Okay, so why am I crying right now? Like, where am
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter where it's coming from. It's just coming. Let it out.
Yeah. Emotions will never make sense.
But it would make life so much easier if I did.
Really nice. Yeah. I think all of us would face them more if they made sense.
Yeah.
You're not alone in that, like, logic and overthinking and figuring out. Oh my gosh, that was like the banner over my life, is like, if I could figure it all out. But really, that's just me not wanting to be in pain. Or I had the belief that if I figured everything out, that I wouldn't face any more pain. Like, if I could figure out relationships and I could figure out parenting and I could figure out whatever, then I would be in a place that I would never have pain again. No, it doesn't happen. But if you can be like with yourself, like you just did, in the pain, that's what brings healing. That's what brings love in those moments.
Yeah. So hard though.
I know.
With my abandonment stuff, like I said, it was like 3 different situations with something. My stepdad first left, found out he wasn't. My real dad thought he was for like the first 5 to 7, I don't know, years of my life. Then comes in my bio dad. And when I was doing the encounters, I had the realization, like when they were talking about, so like where in your life do you see like God gave you the mother, father figures? And at first I was thinking like my mom just like, I was still feeling the hurt of my stepdad leaving. And my mom just like brought in my bio dad. And it's like, but wait, like, it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to like insert here? Like, it's like, but then had the realization that, God was, replacing that need that I, like the protector and everything. And then like the emotional piece, my stepmom was like, I remember my first memory of my stepmom is actually me just like resting on her shoulder and just kind of like being. Because I was like, I don't remember any other like mom figures that are actually like really emotionally there for me. And then I feel like I like kind of pushed both of them away at the same time. So, because getting emotionally close, and I don't want to get abandoned, even though I know they're going anywhere. And my mom always like calls me and tells me, she's like, because her and my dad, they still talk and have a relationship. And she's always like, he's so sad about your relationship and wants to have one. And just like, I don't know how to do that because I'm still grieving. Yeah, I don't know why I said that, but yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing that moment with us. You're so sweet. I love that you chose to turn and face all of that pain that you were running from. I think that's so brave.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I love those. I love to hear those sighs of relief. They're my favorite.
They happen, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, honey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dylan Rose, I see your question. Looks like Shannon's next, and then Hannah. Sorry, I almost forgot your name for a second because it says live and free. I was like, brain. Will you add Dylan Rose to whoever's last on the list? Thank you. Okay, Shannon. Hi, Annie.
So my question is a lot about, I guess, being dependent on other people for my worth. Yeah, I had kind of two triggers this week that came to mind this morning. And one was I have a friendship, and I would say she's my closest friend, but she doesn't make a lot of time to be with me because she has a husband and a dog and a job and a side job. So, but my roommate kind of approached me out of nowhere and was like, if she's your best friend, how come she never like makes time for you? And kind of like challenged me on what I was accepting as, friendship. And I guess I never would have, like, in trying to love people where they're at, like to ask for more, like I've just never felt comfortable doing that. But I think it might be a worth thing at the root. And then the other thing was I've been so encouraged in like learning vulnerability and that it can be safe. And I did the test with my mom because I feel like I'm healing. So like in my mind, it's like she should also be at a different place. But so I said to her, something very vulnerable is that I've been in a back and forth relationship with this guy, which I never anticipated for myself, but there's just enough there that I keep wondering, well, maybe, but there's like just enough wrong that it's like, well, no. And I said to her, like, I spent some more time with this guy and then I realized no again, and I broke up with him again. And I felt like she could have, wanted to know more or understand or help me understand, but she just said, well, don't do that again. And like, that was her thing. Don't do that again. And I just like wanted to cry because that hurt that she just didn't, like, how is that helpful even? Just don't do it again. And like that night, God kind of gave me a gift of this mother figure took me and my roommate to a church service, and I got to lean my head against her shoulder for 2 seconds. And it was really healing. But those moments like just are so sporadic in my life. I'm just like feeling like I can lean my head on mom and like draw from her strength and wisdom. And it just like, I think my worth is tied to that a lot too. And my brain says, well, this only happens here and there. It's like survival of getting a mother's affection, and then there's nothing, and just like it's because you're not worth it. So I guess the language would be I want to divorce my worth from how other people are interacting with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm thinking. I love that you tested vulnerability with your mom again. Yeah.
I'm like hardcore, like always doing that. And it always fails.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, today she'll be different. No.
Yeah. I'm laughing because I'm like, yeah. Oh my gosh, I've been burned so many times because I'm like, vulnerability, that's the way for connection. And it is. Yeah, you bring vulnerability. The other person's supposed to also bring vulnerability, and then you have connection. And my little girl gets the connection she wanted. It never happens. I'm a slow learner. But okay. Enough about me. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I have pressed into this area so much, worth and value, and um I'm wondering, would it be more helpful to go back to kind of like when when your worth was tied to those things and giving her the experience of being worthy of more? Sorry, I'm like not getting my words out. Or would it be better to like kind of more practically walk through like in moments of untying your worth now and pulling on sources of worth now? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
I'm connecting more with the first thing because yeah, I feel like my little girl doesn't even understand what would be different because my normal was always my worth, my emotions, everything was all connected to what was around me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Cool. Yeah. For me, I kind of teeter between both of the times of like going back and giving her more. And then even now, just like the things that I share with my heart, like you're worth more than this. Like, because some of it is letting the experiences in, and our part in like we push things away. And I have to actively be like, no, I am worth this. I am worth more. I'm worth asking for more. I'm worth more than I've gotten in the past. All of those things. But okay, cool. Go ahead and close your eyes. Put your hand on your heart. We'll get connected to, just an age or experience. Maybe one of those moments where you made a declaring thought and you didn't even realize that I'm worth this amount and no more.
Yeah, I have a memory. For some reason just sticks out, but I'm like, oh shoot, probably 6. And I can remember what I was wearing that day, almost like little gray leggings, because leggings were hot then, and
Yeah.
The early 90s. So, and I'm playing with this really epic, it was a board and it had stickers that you could rip off and put back on, and you could arrange them however you wanted. There's like a big Bible that could like float in the sky or be on the grass. Anyways, so I'm playing over in the kitchen and my mom's back is turned doing dishes, and I want so badly for her to turn around and to like kneel down and to like connect with me, like so bad.
Yeah. Okay. Does it feel, my first thought is let's get your heart what it needed. Let's get your little girl what she needed. Would it feel safe for your mom in that moment to do that with you?
I don't know if I'm there yet.
Okay, that's okay. Okay. We can really bring in we can bring in the mom that you just had the moment with.
Yeah,
You-
sure.
yeah, we can do that. Okay. Go ahead and get connected to that moment when you're playing. We can invite in that mama.
Yeah, it's so easy with Joanne because her eyes always light up when she sees me or anyone, and I can just so easily imagine her getting down on her knees and asking me questions about what I'm doing, and you know, even like starting to play with me, or and just like that feeling of, wow, she wants to be here with me and she likes me.
Wow. Love that. And let's give her a moment of that. And what's happening in this moment?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, but even like my body, like at present, is relaxing. And I'm feeling a lot more at peace now as well.
Yeah.
And I kind of see actually my little girl in the thing I'm picturing, like so grateful for just like Joanne in this memory, like helping to heal that memory, but like kind of just like looking at my mom with in the corner of my eye and being like, but what about her, God? Like, will she ever like open herself up and um like I want to let go of her in a way, and sometimes I never want to see her again, but I know I really just want a relationship with my mom. And it's like I've been really patient, but like it might never change. And like the little girl just like doesn't really know what to do with that reality.
Yeah. Makes sense though. You want your mama. You want connection with your mom. Yeah.
There's yeah, still that question like, what about her? What about my real mom?
Yeah.
Because if I picture her turning around, I just see someone whose like eyes are kind of glazed over and like she's empty and she like can't see me.
Yeah. I wonder, would it be okay if we invited Jesus into this moment?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like he has something to say. When you see him, let me know.
I see him like he was relaxing on the couch and he kind of just casually walks over.
I love that. Always waiting for us, always nearby. What does he have to say?
It's just like, I think he's just like wanting me not to focus on my mom, but to look at him. And he's just like, this is a precious moment. And I know it's not your ideal, but I'm here.
Yeah.
And just like, let's just play. Let's just enjoy this moment.
Yeah. Okay.
And he says, can you do that? And yeah, if he's with me, I can do that.
Yeah. I love that.
And yeah, we're just all laughing together.
Yeah. How is little Shannon feeling?
Yeah, just, I mean, my mother is just not in the place where she can, you know, be the ideal that I always have in my mind or whatever. And my little girl is just like, just knows like, with Jesus, I can have peace in that. And yeah, and I mean, if I struggle again, I can just come back to him and talk it through. Can be honest. It's not like we're denying the facts here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he had for me this morning.
I love that. Do you feel like worthy of that time? That time with Joanne and Jesus and connecting with you? Does it feel like just like it, are you letting that moment sink in as like, no, of that worth?
Yeah, because I've worked with Joanne in ministry and she never rushes anyone. And I know she wants to be there in my picture too. And like the Lord is the same. Like,
Yeah.
I know he wanted to be there, and it's really easy to receive from them and to trust that that's real. And
yeah. Good. I'm happy for you. There may be a level of grieving at some point, that just the pure grieving of not having that connection with your mom. Like what you want it to look like, because I think when we can get through the grieving of that, then on the other side, there is a possibility of a relationship and connection of what she can offer without as much like pain around it. That makes sense. So I think both are true. I think you can have connection with her, but there may be a level of grieving what the ideal for your heart, right? And that she can't do some of those things, but that like a level of connection and intimacy and relationship could be available if we remove the pain from it and just let her show up how she can. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then it's easier to connect with. I get this pain too, though. And so it's so hard to be like, no, I want you to show up this way. But I think the more I work through that pain, I can receive how my mom does show up as a gift and connect with that in relationship. And that's been really nice on the other side.
Yeah. So I now I need to understand grieving, because people keep saying this, like all the coaches, like maybe you need to grieve, like you need to grieve, and I don't really know what that means yet, but I'll get there.
Yeah, of course. No, today you did amazing today. Yeah. Grieving to me kind of looks like what Charlie did in those moments of like, letting the pain come up and grieving the sadness and the loss, like facing that ideal relationship. This is what I wanted from my mom, and that's the part you're grieving of, like, it's like almost like coming to terms with the situation, but the sadness around, like, I have to grieve this because like I won't receive this, and that part's sad. Like letting yourself feel the sadness and the loss over what could have been.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like for me, in moments of grieving.
Yeah. And even in my journal, I used to only record like good moments because I didn't want to remember the bad ones. But I'm like allowing myself to like start to journal like what's actually happening, or like stuff that comes up, and I think that's helping get there,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that with us today. You're doing such a good job. Okay. Linda, looks like you are next.
Hi, Courtney. Hello.
Hi. Let me
My
find you.
first time.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Oh, good. Just getting coached in general or on one of my calls?
On any call, on the Zoom.
Oh, awesome.
I'm 69, so this is not natural for me.
I love that.
And I joined this group because I was on my daughter's phone, and I think that's where the message came. I lost my daughter to suicide almost 2 years ago. I look at her phone every day to see her memories, to be in touch. And I joined the group thinking I would find her, which is insane, I know. But she was such a joy in my life all her years, because she was so gentle, kind, affectionate, funny, artistic, beautiful. She was the youngest of my three. And so I joined the group thinking I would find her. And the more I've been with y'all about 3 months. And like I say, this is the first time I've reached out, because Facebook. I mean, I'm on Facebook, but just to see what the kids were doing. I am shy, and I'm sure I have a lot of pain from my youth, but I can't remember it. I mean, my youth, it's that long ago. So I feel a lot of pain when I hear about all the mistakes mom's made. And it's really hard for me because I was a single mom. I divorced Laura's father when she told me as an 18-month-old that daddy hurt her in her privates. And I took her to the doctor, and he said that no child would say that, or it described to her if it hadn't happened. So I divorced him, but he had been abusive to me up until that point. So yes, I went to 5 pastors to told me, turn the other cheek, bear your cross. This is the thorn in your flesh. And I stayed with him. But so am I in the wrong place? Because I came for healing, and I talked with Gabby, and I loved her and her little baby September on the phone on the first call. And I just felt a connection, like it would have been my Laura. And then I come and I see you young women so beautiful and precious and working on things, and I'm just so proud of you all. And I feel like if Laura could have just joined, but I'm not Laura. Am I in the wrong place?
No, not at all. I love that you're here. That makes a lot of sense to me, that you were looking for her. Yeah, I'm on the verge. I think you're making all of us cry.
I'm sorry.
No, in a
The
good
first
way.
time I reached out to a young woman who looked like Laura, I did on the chat, and she, bless her heart, it was her 25th birthday, and Laura was 25 when she left. And I made her so sad. I felt horrible. And I'm thinking, I don't want to make y'all sad. God is so good, and God gets me through each day, a day at a time. And I've just done this first encounters homework.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. And he did come to me after Laura left. I fell on my knees out in the backyard, and there was a partial rainbow in a beautiful blue sky. And he said to me, it's okay, she's with me now. And she is at peace, and she is happy. He said that. That was my really big, okay, that wasn't my first encounter, but that was a really important one from God.
Yeah.
And he is so good. Oh, but I don't want to depress people. I don't want to make people sad.
No, I think you're touching our hearts. I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think you're touching our hearts in a really good way.
Well, do you think that looking at her phone and her memories every day, am I torturing myself? Or, okay, today's post from 2 years ago, a month before she left, it's, she's reposted what somebody said. And it says, me and my mom are like best friends, but sometimes she just says shit. And it's like, okay, are we friends or are you a hater? And I don't know what a hater is, but I love it might, I'm trying to remember on April 26th what I said to her 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But we were best friends. She was my best friend. I would have done anything for her. So be going into too much detail here, but
No, thank you so much. I feel just so honored to hear you.
thank you.
Yeah, and share this with us. I'm like a ball of like, yeah. So it's touching my heart. I know the ladies are. Can you find the chat?
Oh,
Do you know where to find the
oh,
chat?
thank you.
Yeah, make sure
Thank
you read that. But
She
yeah,
was
there's
she
just
was amazing. She was so kind to everybody but herself. And her boyfriend broke up with her that day, and she moved home after 3 years of living with him. And I had no idea that she'd lost all hope. But yeah, who wants to move home with their mom at 25? I just,
I think the only thing I don't want for you is the in going into any like blame or going into any like hatred
I
for
did that a
yourself.
lot at first. I
Yeah.
thought I'd work through that, but then I saw this post today, and I
Yeah.
think it was, she had gained a lot of weight. Her weight was beautiful. Do you know that back in the Renaissance time, voluptuous was important? It was good. It was, I mean,
Yeah.
this whole world,
Changes,
she
right?
was voluptuous and
Yeah.
beautiful and precious. And I told her when she came home that day, I said, well, we'll get you a place. It'll be okay. We'll get you a place.
Yeah.
I had no idea that I didn't have time. Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Dad.
No, I couldn't imagine. Your mama heart is just hurting. I couldn't imagine that
She
pain
was
and that
my
loss.
baby.
You know. Yeah. Would it be okay if we if I just invite a couple of the ladies and if we could pray with you?
Yes, thank you.
Is that okay? Does anyone want to offer to go first? We can do maybe 2 or 3 ladies if you're willing to come on and pray.
I'm happy to pray for her.
Yeah, thanks, Christy.
Let me I just want to say, Father God, we just lift this mama up right now, Lord. Lord, we can feel her pain with her. And Lord, you're there with her. You're hugging her, Lord. And there's no blame on her. The Lord loves you. The Lord wants you to know that he loves you so much. You are so precious to him. And he understands your pain. And Lord, we just lift her up. We ask that you give her peace in the midst of this grief. And Lord, that you just let her know that you are there for her every moment of her day, when she's thinking about the loss, when she's not. And Lord, we just pray that you cover her, that you minister to her heart, and that you just give her a sign. Give her a sign that it's okay. She's going to be okay. And it's okay to feel this way. The Lord can take all of it. And he's counting your tears. He's counting every tear you shed. And he just wants to make you feel better, because he loves you so much and he loves your daughter so much. Lord, we just ask for covering on her. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dylan Rose, go ahead, unmute yourself. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Linda, I see so much love in your heart. Yeah, thank you so much for I'm so sorry. I could not even imagine. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I just want to pray that the memories that you have of your daughter would become sweet. It's really easy to it's easy to focus on all the what ifs and all of the different things, and but I just pray that the memories would become sweet. Yeah, that you would be able to see her and all the glory that she's in heaven. The Lord's done that with my aunt that just passed away, and it has been the most beautiful thing to see, like, her in all of her glory and everything that God made her. So yeah, I just pray for moments that you would see her in all of her glory in heaven, and that it would just bring so much peace. And I just say, like, it's okay to feel everything. Like, allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to freely be on the floor and crying, because it's so needed to be able to allow yourself to grieve. And yeah, you're in a great place. You're in a great place to have people around you saying it's free to grieve. Like, you're free to grieve. You're free, even if it's been 2 years, you're free to grieve. Like, don't hold that pain in. So yeah, bless you. So glad you're here.
Thank you, honey. That's really sweet.
I do a quick one.
Yeah, go for it, Shannon.
Yeah. Father, I just hear the word forgiveness rolling around in my mind over and over. And Jesus, I just ask right now that you could do something supernatural with Linda, where she knows that you hold none of this against her, and neither does Laura, but there's no way she could have possibly known. And Jesus, I just pray right now that you would set her free in her heart to go on this healing journey with you, and to know that she is supported by Alive and Free and her church family and her family. And would you just surround her right now with your presence, that your peace would rest on her? In Jesus' name I pray.
Thank you so much. How are you feeling, Linda?
Well, amazing. I feel
Good.
not so alone. I feel God's comfort. I feel his love. I feel your comfort and love. And I thank you all for allowing me to be here in spite of my sorrow. I mean, thank you. Thank
We're
you
so
for letting
happy.
me share and getting it off. To be a part now. I'm here now. Instead of just an observer. It's been 3 months and I'm here now. Thank you.
I love that you're here. I love that you're here.
I have so much to learn.
Yeah. I love your mama heart that you bring to this place too. I feel like there may be even like I don't know, I almost see this like bridge of like healing in that, of like our younger generation, like we're expressing the pain of not having moms, and you're expressing this pain of not having your daughter. And I like even see the beauty in that, of God's like fulfilling that. I'm gonna get all weepy again. So I just love that your mama heart is here, and I love that you're bringing it to the table with us, and that we get to just feel that mama love from you too. It's so sweet and special.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Being a mom has been my greatest joy. And now being a grandma is really up there too.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I didn't get to be a mom till I was 37, 39, and then 42. So
Yeah.
I waited and had to wait, and it was so worth the wait. Thank you for letting me be a part. Now I know I did not make a mistake joining.
Oh,
And it wasn't just for Laura, it was for me.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this with us. Yeah. Thank you, ladies, for just loving on her in this place. Yeah. Yeah, we love you, Linda. Okay, it looks like Dylan Rose, as we dry our tears, all of us. You can unmute yourself and let us know what's on your heart.
Oh, okay. um, this is only my second time coming onto a call, but like actually showing up. Oops, sorry, can you hear me?
I could, and then hold on. Did she get disconnected? I don't see you now.
She's hopping back on.
Okay. Oh, good. Give us a moment.
I'm so sorry. I'm still figuring out how to use these headphones. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I'll just jump in. So I've been in a relationship for the last 10 months, and there's been some things that have like slowly come up where I haven't felt like I could fully be myself. And then like I'm also learning how to be fully myself, especially with men. Learning a lot about myself. And I went away on a mission trip for like 5 days this last week. And when I came back, it was like I had this like, oh my gosh, all of these things that I like have been seeing but like been dismissing slowly have like kind of come to the surface. And like I realized like I haven't been voicing as much as I want to, and allowing myself to be myself. And then there's like moments where I have allowed myself to be myself and tried to like come in fully, and he's gotten mad or disconnected. And so I addressed it, and then I was like, I don't actually know if there's any growth on your part. And I don't know, there's so many different things that are kind of like coming up and hitting. And so I like tried processing it, and asked him if we could get together and I could like talk to him about what was going on. And so we had that conversation yesterday. Sorry, what's up?
No, I just said okay.
Oh, and the conversation went well, but I think I'm realizing like there's a lot of codependency. And so like I watched the codependency for week 7 because that's what I'm on. And one thing she said is like I'm working I'm doing 90% of the work and like he's only doing 10. Which I feel like for me it's like maybe 80-20. And so I realized, okay, I need to take a huge step back, which I did tell him yesterday. And it sounds like he's willing to like continue growing and do his part. But I've realized like I took such a huge step back, and like I'm scared to step back in and like be hurt again. And I had a lot of like back and forth with my dad and like men in my life and like showing up and then they would leave. And so I think there's like a fear of like me opening up and like being vulnerable and like showing love and then like getting rejected or like being abandoned.
Yeah.
And I'm like kind of stuck and I don't really know what else to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you said earlier, when you had said like you brought your full self to the table, and I think you said he got angry and then disconnected. What did that look like for you? What does it look like for you to bring your full self to the table?
In that scenario, it was like I was sharing something that was vulnerable and like trying to let him in, and asking to like have a conversation about it. And he got triggered and defensive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. So it's almost like you're, in that space of like wanting connection, doing all the things for connection. And then, okay, so I can kind of see that dynamic, that 80-20. Was that what it was like for you with your dad?
Probably.
Yeah.
I know with my mom it was. So I can see some things like, because my dad was kind of in and out of my life and I didn't live with him all the time. And honestly, my memory is very spotty, but
That's okay.
I know that like with my relationship with my mom, I would like my mom was very victim mentality and like just very negative, and so and also like bipolar and ADHD, and so she would fall into like this victim mentality, and I would do everything I could to like try to fix it. And so I learned like I have to overwork because you're not working for you, and I didn't think I was doing that in the relationship, but I'm realizing this last week that that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It sounds like taking like over responsibility is what I would associate that with, which is like an aspect of codependency. When we're like as little kids, we learn to take on responsibility for the people around us, the emotions around us, and kind of that shifting, like I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that you're okay, and taking on that responsibility. Yeah. I wonder, because we can either go back to an encounter with you as a little girl when you kind of took on that responsibility for your mom, because that reflects in how we show up in relationship now, right? Or we can kind of talk about just like either some practicals in the relationship now, or how you would kind of separate out like not taking responsibility for his emotions. Which one feels I don't know, more productive, like a better place to start with you? Productive was not the word I wanted to say. I was like,
I would say like practicals would help. And like also, I think like the biggest thing is like I'm really scared to like show up again. Like he's been like been really sweet, and like I can tell that I'm like pulling back, and I'm like even though I had a conversation with him, I feel even more scared, it seems like, to come back in, even like the way that I was before this came up. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Does it feel like you're more guarded? Like you're
Yeah.
protecting? Yeah.
Like I'm real, and I've been like having so much anxiety just about that conversation, and the anxiety hasn't really gone away, and it's like this like pit in my stomach, and I'm like nervous to even like talk to him, because it's almost like it shifted to where like it almost feels like he's saying like I love you and like all these like sweet things to like get something out of me, which I know is not true, but it kind of like shifted.
Yeah.
And I definitely had like there was men in my life that my mom were dating that were like that with me, and my mom was like that with me. Like she would say I love you just to like get an I love you back,
Yeah.
which I know he's not doing, but I think it's like that like fear keeps coming up where I like have to guard myself.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense too. Okay. So you're kind of fighting that urge to. Does it feel like your heart's just not ready to like step closer? Because you had said before, like you kind of created space. And it's okay that we protect our hearts in moments while we're working through things, and taking that space. Does it? Is that what it feels like? That you're protecting yourself from? Hold on. Hmm. Yeah, I understand that dynamic of almost like having to give a piece away, or that like being that source. Does it feel like you're a source for him? Like a source of love? Like he's, like you were saying with your mom, like it's a requirement that you give in return, kind of like this exchange dynamic, or not? That's
I'd
okay.
say it kind of feels like it, but like he's told me before, like if I say this, like I don't need you to say it back. So like logically, I know
Sure. Yeah.
that it's not.
Yeah. And I think there's a difference between what we know in our head and what we know in our hearts and like have experienced. So there may be a space where like I know in my head, like I'm not obligated to give this back to him. But it sounds like from what you experienced with your mom, there could be a place in your experience, like in your little girl, that's like feeling that like, oh no, like that exchange is real. Like he's saying, I love you, he's being sweet, like whatever that would be for you to give back to him, that love. Um, what would it be okay if you told him that you still needed space? Like how would it feel to you if you brought that to him, and like when he says I love you, when he says these sweet things, be like, thank you, I appreciate that. Like I'm still working through some of this stuff and I still need a little bit more space. Does that feel like scary? Does that feel like something you could communicate?
I would say it feels scary. I did ask for a couple of days to kind of like have space. And I let him know like we're doing school together. So I'm like, if you see me, like obviously you can come up and say hi, but I would appreciate if like for the next couple of days we just kind of didn't have a ton of like talking. And I don't know if I don't know if I like just said it directly enough, because it did end up triggering him. Because he thought of it as like a break, which is like a whole trigger for him. So
Sure.
I think I tried to please a little bit, and I'm like, it's not like, I was being honest, like it's not a break, and I'm not like saying I don't want to talk to you at all. I'm just saying like I would prefer to not be texting. I would prefer to not be calling constantly.
Yeah.
And so like he called me last night to ask a question, which I was like, yeah, that's fine, like for clarification. But then he was like kind of trying to text after, and so I just like didn't respond, and then just like the message before going to bed, and said goodnight. And then like he sent me a text this morning saying good morning, and I haven't responded. So I'm like, I feel obligated to respond because he's messaging me, and I think there's like I think that's where the codependency kind of comes in, where I'm like, I have this low grade anxiety, and I don't know what to do. Like I have no idea what to do about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. What is the anxiety saying? Can you connect with like, if we can connect with that anxiety, can we connect to some of the main things that it's saying?
Yeah.
And we can take a moment right now too.
I heard, as soon as you said that, I heard yeah.
No, it sounds like you're breaking up. Hold on a second. I can't tell if it's you're frozen or I am. Can you hear me okay, Dylan? Dylan Rose?
Can you hear me?
I can now, but I didn't get the last things you were saying. It cut out right when you were explaining like what it feels like.
See if I can go inside. Can you hear me okay?
It's kind of spotty. You know what? Try to turn your video off. Sometimes that helps with the audio connection. Okay, try it now. I can't really hear you.
Is it not working?
Yeah, try to leave your video off for a minute. I think I can kind of hear you now.
Okay. I said it feels like I have to like it's saying like I have to respond, otherwise he's gonna get mad.
Yeah. What would happen if he's mad?
I would spiral and like try to figure out why and like what I did wrong and
Yeah.
like how to fix it, and yeah, basically like apologize for anything that I could have done wrong. But then it gets kind of twisted because it's like, okay, but what did like sometimes I do things wrong, and like I do take ownership, but then the other person doesn't always take ownership.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it sounds like you taking ownership for things that may not even be yours,
Yeah.
because you have expressed like a need in space. And I think that's where your heart is feeling that anxiety of like, he's reaching out, and not to make it high stakes at all. And there's definitely no right or wrong, but it does sound a little bit like like torn between, I can either honor my heart and give her what she's needing in these moments, or respond to him. And I can kind of see your heart, like kind of torn between both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily think he's like doing anything horrible or wrong, but at the same time, like, I think this is like the nitty gritty of codependency. I feel like this is the nitty gritty part where it's like, when the rubber hits the road, when it's like, okay, this is the moment where you get to press in and be like, no, I asked for this space for myself and for my heart. And you can separate from like the person over here can have whatever emotions come up for them. Like, they can be triggered, they can be disappointed, they can be angry, they can be throwing a temper tantrum. Like, it's like that physical and emotional separation of like, that is a reality of it, right? And there's no right or wrong. So you could give in this moment in a way and like respond to him so that he's not mad, so that everything's okay. I don't think there's no judgment or shame over either one. But if you're wanting to kind of remove codependency and build that muscle of like interdependence and choosing yourself in these moments, it could look like you stopping and even just within yourself, reminding yourself that you can choose this for yourself, and the other person can have whatever emotions are going to come up for them, and they get to face them. They get to manage them, right? They get to go on the same journey that we're going on, that we're learning about. Like, he was triggered. That's an invitation for him to learn about his triggers, to get healing in the midst of his pain, right? To learn how to manage his emotional world, all of those things. And I'm speaking from experience here with my mom, because this is how I walked out of codependency with my mom, is pulling back and being like, I'm going to say no to this thing that I don't want to do. And it's absolutely okay that my mom has big emotions about it. It's okay that she feels abandoned. It's okay that she's she's calling me or she's coming over. Like, she's gonna have big emotions because I spent my life like calming her emotions. That's the responsibility part. That's the codependency that was in our relationship. Was I took that on as my job to calm her emotions when she had them. And so that's just what it looked like for me, kind of practically, in those moments of removing myself from that place in her life. Removing codependency from my world looked like coming to terms with, she's going to have big emotions, because I wasn't causing them. So even with this relationship with you, he may be triggered in a moment, but that pain was already there for him. Like, we're not responsible when we trigger other people, right? It's not that we're hurting them necessarily. It's that pain is coming up for them, and we're no longer being that Band-Aid that keeps pain at bay for them, which is messy, which it's uncomfortable in ways. So, but I'd love to check in with you. How does some of that sound if you were to choose not to respond, because you've already kind of voiced that, like, I need this space, I need this time for my heart, and he is still messaging? What would it what emotions would come up for you if you just chose not to respond and let him have whatever emotions he has on his side?
Definitely anxiety
Yeah.
and like fear that he's going to take it out on me.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, even saying that out loud, and I'm like, I don't think I've seen him do that unless it was like we were in a communication and like he got triggered and then got mad. But yeah, I just don't know what to do with the anxiety and the fear, I guess. After like, I don't know. I'm like, what is he thinking? Like, if I don't respond to his good morning text, like, I would feel more comfortable to like reiterate, like, hey, like, I still need space.
Yeah.
Just so he knows.
Yeah. And I think that's fair. I don't think you have to not communicate. There's a way to still like honor your heart and what she's wanting in this space. I think it would be perfectly fine to communicate that again and let him know. And the anxiety is okay and the fear is okay. It's an old program, right? Of like it pops up in those moments where we're trying to choose a different path, like choose a different habit, right? It's our self-protection. It's our little girl that steps in and is like, oh, no, 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 wait, no, you have to keep them happy, right? So it's a valid voice. It's what served us for so long. But the beautiful thing is now it's like, no, wait, I'm an adult now. I hear you. You can let it come up. Oh my gosh, I'm so afraid that he's going to get mad. He's going to take it out on me. He's going to abandon me, right? Those are all really valid things. But in that, we can be a new voice to that little girl. We can be a new voice to that pain. We can calm that anxiety and be like, okay, I hear you. Okay, I hear what you're afraid of, and it's okay. It's going to be okay. Right? And we can bring that comfort to her and we can reassure her that, like, I'm just showing up differently in relationship. I'm actually not going to take responsibility for his side of things anymore, especially for that dynamic of like giving 80% in the relationship and 80-20, right? It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable when you're pulling back that 80. Right back to for both of you, really. And this is across the board. You are not the only one that does this. If you are used to giving 80-90% in a relationship and you are pulling it back to like a 50 range, and you may even need to pendulum swing to like 40%, your heart is going to freak out a little bit and his heart's going to freak out a little bit because like, oh no, the rules are changing, right? Things are shifting, and that's okay. Like ultimately you can choose a different way. And so you're welcome to talk to the anxiety. It's your heart, it's your little girl, it's that place in you that's like, no, wait, I have to protect you from this. And you can remind her that no, it's okay. You don't actually need to protect me from this. He can have his emotions. With my mom, we're a little bit over right now, but I got to the place where I'm like, you know what? It's okay if she does abandon you. It's okay if she does walk away. You're gonna be okay. I got all, you know what I mean? Like I had to get to that point with my mom of accepting, like, not only is she gonna have big emotions, she may be pointing them at you, like whatever her reaction is, like the reality is she may choose to leave this relationship and I am still going to be okay. Right? What are you thinking?
A few things. I was thinking like, I don't know if I trust myself enough to like calm myself down.
Yeah.
But I am willing to like try it. I think I'll go like back and forth. So I'll get myself to be calm, and then like all of a sudden it'll start again and I'll just like start spiraling again, and then it's like have to calm myself down again.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I appreciate you being really honest there. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't think it comes natural for anyone. It's definitely, especially if that's not an experience, like a muscle that we use a lot or we're taught that, you definitely can. And it may look like that a lot. It may look like, wow, I've had to calm myself 50 times today. Like that may be a reality. It does get easier the more you build that equity with your heart. The more she learns to trust you, the more you build that equity and trust over time. It definitely does get stronger. So I just I want to say that yeah, like heart, I got you. We're gonna be okay. You can
It
do
helps
it.
to
No, you
see
can.
like thanks. It helps to see like the big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just in the moment it feels like so big.
Yeah. It really does. I know it. Was any of that helpful?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that like back and forth is like, can I actually set boundaries? Like, can I actually say no? Can I continue to say no? Which I feel like I have gotten better at, like saying like, no, it's actually okay. It's actually healthy. It's actually good, regardless of how the other person responds.
Yeah.
I feel like before I was probably at like 20% of being able to do that, and now I'm probably at like 35-40% of being able to do that. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more solid and like, okay, my voice is important. Like what I need is important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was helpful to just kind of process, and it's helpful to get like a bigger perspective because I tend to get stuck in the like little moments and like the big feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I love that. Cool. Well, thank you for today, ladies. Thanks for sharing with us and just coming to the table.